Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. If you like what you're hearing, hit the subscribe button, give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
You're listening to the Hockey Betting Podcast, presented by BetChrisCanada.net. This is the Hockey Betting Preview for Wednesday, February 12th, 2020. And now, live from Las Vegas, the host of the Hockey Betting Podcast, Brian Blessing.
All right, folks, it's time for the midweek Hockey Betting Podcast. The Hockey Betting Podcast. Brian Blessing in Las Vegas. Cam Stewart is gone.
He gone.
He gone.
He gone. Back to Canada. You know what the worst is? Everyone's like, hey, Big Ginger, are you moving to Summerlin? I'm like, buddy, we'll talk green cards. I'll live anywhere. I ran into a guy from Toronto, Brian, actually used to watch us from the old days at the Score, and he's like, oh, yeah, I got a 4-bedroom, $980, sauna, pool. I'm like, oh, my God, what the hell am I doing here? But anyway, we're here to bet on hockey. We'll talk about my future later. Got to hit more winners.
All right. Hey, listen, on a very serious note, the Jay Bouwmeester deal last night, obviously that was a game that we were looking at long and hard with the dad's trip and Anaheim coming back from a 5-game road swing. Anaheim scored first. Blues had all the momentum. It was 1-1. And then, the one thing you don't want to see, Bouwmeester slumps on the bench, and I'll tell you, the players knew instantly. And this is a guy, me, who was at the Clint Malarchuk game.
Yep.
And to this day, those 25 seconds in the Malarchuk game are etched in my head. And it seemed like it took 20 minutes. When he went down, the neck got slashed. Jim Pizzatello, the trainer, I remember looking to the bench, and two guys grabbed the trainer and got him there. And they got him and ran him in. And literally, if he's at the other end of the rink, I mean, he doesn't make it. And then it happened again with Zednik, and that was a scary thing. But boy, oh boy, this is just a hard episode. But I think because, honestly, of the Malarchuk thing, the NHL does a remarkable job. And, we make fun of them, and we say garage league about a lot of stupid things they do. But they have emergency medical standards. There has to be at least 2 doctors in attendance, and they've got to be within 50 feet of the bench, because that was the other thing in the Malarchuk thing. A doctor happened to be sitting, a season ticket holder, close to the locker room, and got in there and saved him.
No, you're right, Brian.
And they have two doctors, a defibrillator. They've got emergency responses. If this happens anywhere but there, fear for the worst. But it seems like he's going to be okay. They saved him. And then the Blues, Darren Penguin, he came on afterward to give an update. I mean, he's crying. And he said the players have no intent on going back out there. And then 5 minutes later, the league said, okay, and the league called the game. But thankfully,
Isn't it amazing? Isn't it amazing? We rip the NHL for certain things, the strip club schedule, or they're getting wasted and stuff. They handled that like pros, Brian. The NBA, you have the death of Kobe Bryant, yet they're playing games afterwards. That was brutal. Boo. That's we're not editorial guys. We talk about betting and stuff, but I'm going to give you my take. Thumbs up to the NHL. They did a great job with this situation. I'm going to tell you something, too. One of my best friends is friends with Nick Peverley. That's the last time there was a cardiac issue. Remember Nick Peverley of the Dallas Stars there, Brian? Good player. He's still in their organization, right? So he had an issue, too, and, he had a heart murmur and stuff, and things were taken care of there. So I got to give the league, sometimes they do stupid things like 2-game schedules when they should do other stuff, but when it talks about protecting their own, they did a great job.
And then, the other thing I got to tell you, and I'm watching the games last night, I'm like, what's going on? And to me, it is remarkable that this does not happen more often. I mentioned the Malarchuk and the Zednik thing. Red Wing Sabres, I'm watching it, you know me. And just a mindless nothing burger collision at center ice. Brendan Perlini gets tied up with Henry Yokoharu, and Yokoharu falls forward and his foot comes back up and just taking a knife slices right across Perlini's face, and it catches his cheek and his nose. It was a whisker away from his eye, and he's going to be okay. But that's another one, man. I mean, listen, we treat these guys like chess pieces at the trade deadline.
You're right.
But boy, oh boy, thankfully, and it's remarkable how sharp those skates are when they're in piles around a fallen goalie.
That's another thing.
How more guys don't get hurt like that.
I agree with you 100%. Like, I am shocked. Like, and I've had like a major hockey injury. I broke my leg before. I got a goalie to like basically use my face as like spaghetti, beat the living crap out of me, Brian, after getting I'm surprised. You're right. Like, with the sharpened skates and the way these guys play, the speed of the game right now and the equipment, I'm surprised like there hasn't been, people talk about a death from fighting. I think it would be probably closer from like a skate blade, something of that nature, cutting somebody in the neck or doing something like that. So no, we're very, very lucky. I think about that all the time. Like, when I'm watching these games going, I can't believe there's actually guys who, don't get a hell of a lot more injured, more hurt, have their careers end. But I got to tell you something, thoughts and prayers with Jay Bomeister, veteran guy, Brian, Team Canada guy, a guy, I've interviewed before in locker rooms. He's just a very like cool, kind of calm guy, an older veteran.
Iron Man.
Yeah, exactly. You want to talk about a guy, like when you're a defenseman, 17 years in the league, like that is a hell. Playing in the NHL, getting a sniff for like a game or two, I consider you a success story. This guy's played 17 damn years in the league, and our thoughts and prayers are with him. Let's just hope it's just a minor incident.
All right, we got 3 on the card for a Wednesday night, and not loving any of them. Let's say we're not going to send you down a path just to say something, but Montreal's at Boston. Boston's laying 210. Total is 5.5 to the over. Maybe
I'd be careful though if you're betting Boston in this game. I haven't pulled the trigger on Montreal, but I'll say this. Montreal, Brian, when we were in Vegas, remember watching that night, they had a lead on Arizona and pissed it away. It's kind of an interesting angle. And when you look at Boston, they've had a little bit of a layoff. They beat Arizona. I didn't think they looked very good in doing so. They're one of these teams that's actually, their record is good. They're playing good. I think it's a little bit misleading. Every time Boston and Montreal get together, too, it doesn't matter. Throw at the records, throw at everything. Montreal will try to bring their A game, and they've been embarrassed by this team before, too. Games used to be close. Remember when Boston beat them, was it by 8 goals, Brian? So I could see Montreal with a little bit of a burr in their saddle. I think they're going to be pissed off, but it's hard to bet against Boston at the TD Bank. It's very tough, but Montreal at plus 180 is enticing to me, and it looks like a low total in a rivalry game like this at 5.5. But right now I'm going to stay on the bench. You're right. Like, the Vegas game killed me yesterday. We had some good picks, but I'm not just going to bet every game for the sake of it, but I would lean the dog, and I would take a look at the over in this spot.
All right, let's move on to Calgary and L.A. Calgary's $1.30. The total's 5.5 to the under, and the dog's breakfast that the Pacific Division is, and you throw a blanket over these guys. As you said, Vegas spits the bit against Minnesota. We'll talk about Arizona getting carved like a Christmas ham in Toronto in a little bit, but every point matters. And the one thing I would say, do you agree with this statement that in the Pacific, Anaheim, maybe San Jose, I can see them embracing the role of spoiler. I just think the Kings are a fire sale waiting to happen, and it ain't pretty.
No, the Kings, and the way they lose games is unfortunate, too. Like, they've been so beaten down. Like, they have a nice lead against the Islanders. They piss that game away. You're playing the Rangers tight. You give up 4. And you know what I mean? 3 in the third period. They lose 4-1. There's just something with this team in the third period. It's just they don't have a killer instinct. They don't know how to close the game. They're a bad hockey team. As for Calgary, they went into San Jose and got it done. I would really want to take the Flames in this spot because I don't mind laying 30 or 35 cents. I'm just a little bit weary. I've seen the Kings in this role before, and as a home dog actually show up because, you know what, Brian, Calgary's not to be trusted too. They look good a couple games, and they could really, they could puke.
Yeah.
So I lean Calgary. I think they should win the game. If they show up determined and focused, I think the Flames get it done, but very, very difficult game. I won't be betting LA as a dog.
The get-out game is pretty compelling. Chicago, high-scoring track meet, lost at Edmonton, now the flight to Vancouver. So a lot going against them. Vancouver stopped the bleeding in their last game, Cam, and the offense came to life against Nashville. But Pettersson back in the lineup, like I said, it's a tough card, but I think you can make a case for the over 6.5.
You could. The thing about this game, too, is I'd be again, like tonight, what's the bottom line on Wednesday is caution and warnings. Vancouver looks too easy. It's never easy. Look at Vegas against Minnesota. Every good gambler, every show, Brian, the ESPN, all the people, the popular consensus, Vegas over Minnesota. What happens? They lose 4-0. They get smoked. They ruined a lot of parlay tickets. Let's talk this game. The Blackhawks, heartbreaking loss to Edmonton. In that game, they had a lead against the Jets. I think they got jobbed in that game at the end with bad tic-tac penalty calls. Now you're getting a team in Chicago getting 30 cents against red-hot Vancouver, coming off a 6-2 win against Nashville. Very, very interesting. I think a lot of people just blindly click Vancouver tonight. I'm not going to be one of them. I think I'm just going to probably ride your wave. Yes, I could see over in this hockey game, too. I see like a 5-4 type of game, very similar to the Edmonton-Chicago game, right? Remember 4-3, and it could have been a hell of a lot more, right? So I kind of say be wary of Vancouver tonight. I don't really like this card in general, but yeah, over. But be careful. Chicago might be live. I'm not betting it, but I wouldn't blindly take Vancouver.
Honestly, this might be like a midweek, put your feet up and relax, and let's find the good
like
goodies.
Right now, I think people are, Brian, I look at this card and say every favorite will be bet heavily tonight, and I would not be surprised if two dogs won.
Right.
Even with how bad these teams are. Like I'm looking at it right now going, I could see Montreal finding a way. I could see the Kings showing up for a change at home and actually beating Calgary. I can see Chicago rebounding against Vancouver, feeling good about themselves. So me, dogs or nothing.
Oh, by the way, wait a second, buddy. I think we got to go this route. Our angle, monster angle. It almost went through the 5-hole. And the Kings at Washington, at the Islanders, at the Devils, at the Rangers.
Yep.
First game home from a 4-game road trip. That's the angle that's been printing money for us. I mean, you got to go Calgary.
Thing is, yeah, no, you're right. And it worked again last night. We talked about it. It wasn't easy, but Tampa Bay beat Pittsburgh in overtime, right, Brian? So we talked about that game too, and they were getting a small plus price. I remember when I was staying at the Suncoast, I think I got the Pens at plus 105, and that was good enough for me. They got it done, but yeah, you're right. The thing is, bottom line is this: if Calgary shows up, it's very simple. This game is very simple. If Calgary didn't go to LA, didn't party and get wasted, go golfing or whatever, if they actually are thinking about this hockey game, they'll win this hockey.
All right,
I just can't. I can't read their minds. I'm not Kreskin, right, Brian?
No, you're not.
That's some pretty good picks recently, though. I've been grinding the blackjack.
Buddy,
I'm not Kreskin.
No.
Sure.
No. Let's dive in. Let's go to Thursday, because Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, it's the buffet. And when I say buffet, Cam's ears perk up. Dallas is at Toronto. Dallas got a little bit of revenge on their mind. Just recently lost to them 5-3. But I think playing a simpler road game could really benefit Dallas here. Toronto minus $1.40. It was Campbell last night. You may get Anderson here, and you know what, buddy? I just got to say this. Before you hopped on the plane, did you see the Arizona-Toronto?
Oh, yeah.
Let me just say this. Listen.
The Leafs are very lucky.
Hold on a second. We've said that. No, we've said they're lucky. All right? I mean, I'm not picking on the Leafs, but they are lucky. And I'm telling you, they disallow that goal. All right? If that game is, I don't know, Dallas at Columbus, that goal stands. I mean, if you're disallowed, what did he do? He skated through the top of the crease. I'll
tell you how I feel, Brian. This is coming from a guy like, I talk Al Bundy, 3 touchdowns in one game, but I like guys like Dave Andrechuk back in our day, guys who made a living in the crease. That's the way I played.
Rick Vive.
Exactly that way. Just lumbering, big forward, not fast enough, but good hands. Like, just that's all you want to do, and it bothers me. They are giving the goaltenders the benefit of the doubt with equipment and everything. What do you want the forward to do when he is pushed by a defenseman into the
that's not what happened on that play, though. The goalie initiated the contact.
No, but the point I'm trying to make is they always – I'm talking about the whole thing in general. The player never gets the benefit of the doubt. He can get cross-checked into the goalie. The goalie can instigate contact. It's always goaltender interference. No, it's not. Doesn't a player have the right to cut inside and try to make a move and score a goal? That's the problem I have with the NHL. Stop protecting the goalies. Anyway, I think it's BS. You're right. Arizona should have won that game.
Well, the bottom line is, too, I mean, hey, both of those teams are desperate for points, trying to, get into the playoffs, and you have a game-winning goal taken away. Yeah. Seconds later, a game-winning goal the other way. And, oh, by the way, people bet on this stuff.
Exactly. I'll tell you one thing. Yeah, the refereeing in that game sucked. As for this, the Leafs have been lucky. They could have lost to the Ducks, to the Coyotes, and now you're getting the Dallas Stars at plus 20 cents or more. Sign me up with Dallas. And I got to say one thing, though. The only thing that's making me a little bit hesitant of taking Dallas more is the goaltending situation. I got to be honest with you. I know Anderson would. I start Campbell again. I thought Campbell played good. That was his first good game with Toronto against Arizona. He made spectacular saves when the Coyotes were on the power play there. I'm talking like wicked saves. Like, he looked fantastic. They hung him out to dry. He played his best game in Toronto. I'd ride the hot hand again. Anderson needs rest. That's my take.
All right, let's go to Detroit and Jersey. Jersey, almost a $2 favorite. The total on the game is 6. And at first blush, I would say, oh, yeah, this could be a field day and a track meet. And you got Larkin, and I think Mantha's back in the lineup, and Athanasiou, and Jersey's got their offense going. But I got to tell you, as of this morning, they're listing Bernier in Blackwood as of today. I'm going to wait and see who the goalies are. I will tell you, both of those guys, specifically Bernier, have played really well of late.
Yeah, it's surprising. I don't think Bernier is a very good goaltender. Trust me, I got to see a lot of that guy. I think he's awful, actually. But he is very streaky. As for New Jersey, they're coming off that loss, Brian. It's funny. That was the one game I actually changed my opinion on when Florida lost that game against Philadelphia, and me and you and Rhonda and Lisa, when we're all going out for wings and plowing food, and we had the hockey games on at the sports bar, I was thinking, Florida deserved a better fate in that game, and they took it out on, in their next game. They actually got it done against New Jersey and scored. I think New Jersey wins this game. Do I want to lay $2? No. And I'm with you. I'm not making any plays until I see the goaltending matchups in this spot. But I think the Devils will win. I don't lay $2. It's puck line or parlayed. Next.
Columbus at Buffalo. Basically, it's a pick. The total's 5.5 shaded to the under.
Revenge for Columbus. Remember, Brian, we talked about it before I came. I think it was the day before I came. Eichel scored in overtime. I think Buffalo won a really ugly. I feel sorry. People of Buffalo, if you paid to watch that travesty, you should get your money back. And, a ticket to Fantasy Island, the liquor warehouse or whatever. That game.
And I'm not making an excuse because it was maybe the worst game that was played all year long. But it was Columbus coming off it wasn't them coming off their break.
No, it wasn't. That was before that. That was a bad hockey game.
I think it might have been the Sabres then coming off their break.
The Sabres. Anyway, people who paid for that ticket should be refunded. Columbus.
No, it was. Forgive me. It was off. No, it was Columbus coming off their break.
Was it? Okay.
Yes, it was.
Oh, yes, that's right. The Sabres lost to a bad team
to Montreal.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it was so okay. So throw that game out because they were coming off a break. The only thing I'll say, and it's ugly. Olofsson's practicing again, and I think that he'll be a difference maker a little bit for the Sabres, a little more offense when he gets back in there. But it's just one of these things, Cam. Buffalo can't win in Columbus, but Columbus really struggles in Buffalo. It's one of those things that just kind of happens.
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, I have a slight lean to Columbus. It's definitely not my favorite game on the board. It's funny. It's 5.5. Usually when teams play together in an ugly defensive game, it kind of opens up. Buffalo's been able to score a few goals recently, right, Brian? They're coming back against Detroit in that game, and 5.5 seems pretty low, but I think there's other better items on the menu. You said it. It's a buffet. Maybe the turkey was a little bit dry. I think I'm going to go for the prime rib.
Edmonton's at Tampa. Tampa, $2. 6.5 the total. Full marks to Edmonton for that win over Chicago. The morning of the game, word that McDavid's out for 2 to 3 weeks. And believe me, if they go pear-shaped in this 6-7 game window before the All-Star break, their season's kind of on the line. And for them to kind of gut it out and get that win is a big deal for them. But now, Cam, we're talking deep end of the pool as they go to Tampa, Florida. They're at Carolina, and then they host Boston and Minnesota before the break. So, the Yamamoto kid stepping up. Dreisaitl's a stud.
4 points. Yeah, but he can't do it every night, right?
Not every night.
That's the thing. Chicago, I was on Chicago. We're going to be transparent on the show. We had some good winners early, and the late card, I got to be honest, with Vegas and Chicago upset me very much. I will say this. Edmonton is dangerous in this role as a dog. I've seen it before in Boston, like the plus 175, 80 dogs. They can show up, but I don't have faith in them doing it in Tampa Bay. The Lightning are minus 200, though, Brian, and I really don't want – I got to be honest with you, that total, it seems high. Tampa Bay's –
that's what I was thinking.
Give me the under. Give me the under 6.
No, I was thinking the same thing.
Under. Keep digging. It's too much. It's too high. I could see like a 3-1 game for Tampa. Right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm not taking the over. Like, people are like, oh, Edmonton, Tampa. Look, we got stars, Kucherov and Draisaitl and stuff. I'm put the brakes on. I think it's going to be.
By the way,
they'll have to play a defensive game if they want to win.
Can I just make the case? And they said, we've been really knocking it out of the park, thankfully. And then there was a couple of speed bumps last night. But you know what? The one thing, just mark this down when you're listening to this. Also, the thing we try to do is, some of these things, you're the one got to pull the trigger, make your own decisions.
Yep.
But think of these things. When you see back-to-back nights and you go, oh, it's such a big advantage for the home team, back-to-back nights. Yes, generally it is. But what happened, Cam? We made the case that, back-to-back nights for Boston is not the same because you've got Rask and Halak. And Tampa Bay, back-to-back nights is not the same thing, especially when they played McElhinney in the first night and enrolled their number one goalie out in the second game of back-to-back nights, and they got the win, and it was baked into the price, and you had Tampa Bay basically as a pick. Back-to-back nights are not all created equal, is the lesson of the day.
Yeah, very good lesson of the day, too. And, when I look at the Devils, they've been a team I've kind of keyed on, Brian, I take Blackwood as a big dog in the first game, and, I think he's better than people think. I've had arguments with people, I think he's okay. And New Jersey defensively, look at the guys they have back there. He's got to stand on his head, and they hang him out to dry. As for Louis Domingue, that Buffalo 50th anniversary game against the Devils where he basically wanted to bring a hacksaw to himself, let in 5 goals, smashed his stick, and went absolutely bananas the way I do when I don't get enough food, Brian. He went ballistic. And I'll tell you something, that's what I'm talking about. You said it. Some teams have that goalie, and the backup is such a tail off to the starter. Like, he's so much worse. So be wary of that stuff. Edmonton doesn't have that problem, though. I think Koskinen and Smith are pretty well. I think Koskinen in the long term is a little bit better, but I got to give Mike Smith credit. He's played a lot better than I thought.
Philly and Toronto, Philly and Florida.
You're still pissed off about the Arizona game. Damn Toronto.
I know. Florida's like $1.30 here. The total on the game is 6.5, Cam. I mean,
what do you do with this?
How do you do it? Nothing. I mean, how do you step up to the plate and consider the under?
You can make a case for everything in this game. I can make a case for Philadelphia as a dog. I can make a case for Florida, playing better at home, and it's a short price. I could make a case for the over, saying there's not going to be defense, and go, do I really want to have 7 goals when I've seen these teams, sometimes they play those 2-1 games or they'll play a 7-6 game. Brian, you know what? I love it all. You know me. I want to have a piece of every pie. I love to dip in, but I got to walk away from this game right now until I see.
All right. By the way, they just played 2 games ago in Philly. Flyers won 4-1.
Yeah, that was the game we watched, but Florida was snake bitten in that game.
God, that's right.
Remember the bars? You were out having a dart. You were Marlboro Mike-ing it out in the hallway. There was 3 posts by the
play the over in this game. If you watch that game, I mean, they were making saves off the knob handle of sticks, crossbars, pipes.
There could have been 13 goals.
Huberdeau missed a tap-in goal at the end. Oh, God, over. Okay. That game stayed under the total. The score was 4-1. They could have scored 41.
I know. You're right. And I actually, the more I think about it, Florida will get revenge at home. But I like the over, too.
All right. There you go. No, see,
I remember I was calling you. You're out hacking a dart. I'm like, Brian, have you seen this? Because I needed Florida, I think, or something that night. And I think you had the over. We're like, bar, ping, ping, ping. I'm like, oh, my God.
Honestly,
we're just staring at the screen going, help us. Come
on. Buddy, I'm telling you, it's funny. I do it in segments, but in the last 10 days, I hit the 3-teamer with you the other night. Nailed it again last night. And I'm telling you, the return on investment is in the 5 to 6 to 1 range, and that's the first periods. a minute and 3 seconds into the game. A minute and 3 seconds it took. The Leafs game, bam, got over the total. Take a look at those first period overs, buddy. I'm telling you, man, it's a whole different betting market. But there's significant juice on some of these. But boy, find 3 or 4 games where you just know they're going to go for it in the first period. It's a market that you can attack. I'm telling you.
No. You've been doing it, and you've been doing it well. I usually don't play the first periods, but it's something that I watch you do, and I should be doing it a hell of a lot more. I do it once in a while. You're right. Like, it's weird. I just got college basketball, so many other things going on too. It's kind of like a horse, right, Brian? You get the blinkers on, but you got to think there's a lot of ways to attack a game. I'll tell you one thing. Looking at this card for the later games, I can make a case for every underdog in the remaining games of the card.
Oh, now is that not the perfect tease for us to take a very brief timeout? And we'll be right back on the Hockey Betting Podcast. We'd like to thank BetChrisCanada.net for their support of the Hockey Betting Podcast. I'm Brian Blessing in sunny Las Vegas.
And I'm Cam Stewart in cold Toronto, Canada.
If you love hockey and you're in Canada, and Cam is, look for a BetChris near your next holiday destination.
BetChris offers the best value odds on Canadian and international sports. Use the promo code PODCAST when you open up your account at a BetChris location.
So, if you're planning a trip to exotic locations from the Caribbean and Mexico to Peru and almost everywhere in between, the odds are very good. There's a BetChris Sportsbook where you're going on holiday. For more information about visiting a BetChris location while you're on holiday, visit BetChrisCanada.net. That's BetChrisCanada.net. Use the promo code PODCAST. You like that, Cam, going to break? That was smooth as a stucco tub, wasn't it?
Smooth. Very good, Brian. See, it's not your first rodeo. You've been around. I remember you wearing that canary yellow blazer. Hi, I'm Brian Blessing, live at the Yacht. Okay.
I never – wait a minute. I never got one of the canary yellow blazers.
No, it was the blue.
No.
Or the blue.
No. We got a clothing allowance. I mean, to this day, in my closet, I've got about 42 suits in there.
Oh, nice.
Nice. All I do is walk around here wearing shorts.
Or your sportsbook, your sweatshirt.
Yeah, my sweatshirts. Well,
dude, I want to know, do the suits have like a Buffalo Sabres logo on it, or are they just straight up?
No logos.
Okay, that's great. You don't even have to worry about getting them altered.
No, we got to clothing. Well, no.
In your old age, you haven't put on pounds, like you're not a pig. So good for you. You don't have to worry about
oh no, I think at the time I think I was more of a fat bastard then. I think I can get in most of those again.
Oh, I'm totally a fat bastard. It's tough. It's tough. When you leave Vegas, Brian, and I'll tell you something, that deli beside the Subway is the most underrated place for food.
Oh, strong, yeah.
Oh my God, the chicken wings there. They were the size of like a piece of head cheese. And
literally.
And their burgers. I saw this big woman. She was huge, and I go, whoa. I go, that looks fantastic. Her and her husband were just plowing the $6.99 burger special. Delicious. Anyway,
yeah, it's good when you can feel your arteries hardening with every bite.
Yeah, no, I got to tell you, that place is underrated. It just looks like a bagel joint, but their food's good. Anyway, let's rock. We got let's take a look here.
Ottawa. Hey, by the way, I got to tell you, Arizona.
I got to tell you.
Wait a minute, Arizona's $1.35 on the road. The total is 6. I swung for the fence. I said, you know what? Ottawa gave Colorado a game. Colorado had their chance in that game. That would have put that angle over the top. They got a goal. Oh, that was a killer. That cost me. I had Ottawa in the first period of that game. They scored like 40 seconds at the end of the first period. But Ottawa gave them a game, flying back up. But I got to think Arizona there's a level of desperation kicking in here, bud.
Oh, I think this could be a very good game. Yeah, this is the only one. I was talking about the later card, like starting at the later games, 8:00 Eastern, 5:00 your time and beyond. But I got to take Arizona, $1.35, Brian. I think it's a good spot. Think about this. They should have beat the Leafs. They came back and beat Montreal. They've been snake bitten, and now you're only laying under 40 Saints against Ottawa. Yes. Ow! Arizona makes the card. Next game, let's talk. People, sometimes Brian talks about.
Come on, give me some credit. Give me some credit here.
Half-wits together to get a full wit. I remember this game, Brian. I'll never forget this game because I remember our network at that game. The Islanders were pounding Nashville in that game, and Nashville scored like 7 straight goals in Long Island, left me slack-jawed. I was sitting there going, you got to be kidding me. The Islanders dominated the first game. Revenge spot. You like the Islanders? I'm telling you, I love the Islanders going into Nashville. I think they could steal a win at plus 120. Sign me up with B. Trotz.
Buddy, bet of the night, I think, is this one. I think is the Islanders. Now, give me a little credit here. We saw you during the week.
Yeah.
And who have I told you I think's about to go on a heater?
Islanders. You were talking Islanders all day.
And I talked him up.
Picks.
I talked him up against the Caps.
You had him that night. Great pick. I was on the over. You were the pooch. Nice call.
And then I said, look, I'm coming right back with him again against the Flyers. Boom. I think I bet him. I did it yesterday. 25-1 to win the Cup. I've got Colorado in the West. I've got the Islanders in the East. I think these guys are going on a heater. And here you go, Pally, just for you, because I love you, the icing on top of the cake. It is Nashville's first game home from games at Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. The stars are aligned.
You told us, Brian. I liked it before that information. And that's the thing about the Islanders. Listen, they play this game almost every year since Trott's been here. This in the second half of the season,
it's
after
Barry
the All-Star
Trotz
break,
it's Barry Trotz going back to Nashville.
Yeah. What did he do when he went back to Washington? They kicked the Capitals' ass. Islanders. Wow. We have boxes. The Islanders check it. Islanders.
Hockey boxes.
Yeah, we do. No, we look at Islanders. Check. So yeah, we're on the Islanders. So they better get it done. I'll tell you about another underrated team to bet on are the Rangers, buddy. They've been good. Like last night, we had our boy Bob from Moran on the show. I go, Bob, I love the Rangers I started to think about that game against Winnipeg. I told you, Winnipeg was lucky to beat Chicago. Winnipeg is not the team people think they are. The Rangers are actually a nice little pooch, Brian. I'd be very careful if I was Minnesota in this spot. I'm actually going to bet the Rangers. Minnesota beat Vegas, feeling good about themselves. The Rangers could go in there and win that game at plus 110, 150. Be careful if you like the Minnesota Wild. I think the Rangers, this is a game they could win.
I'll tell you what, this game may make the card too. I think I like the over 5.5.
I do too.
Minnesota is playing hard. Minnesota's power play is really good. Fiala is skating like the wind.
Yep.
And I know the Rangers got three good goalies, and Minnesota's feeling their oats a little bit. And they get that win over Vegas. But I'm telling you, I've watched a bunch of their games recently, and there's a scoring opportunities galore, and you got the Rangers speed with Kreider and all the. I like think the 5.5. I think that number should be 6, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I love the over at 5.5. I like the dog and the Rangers. I'll be playing both. I think Minnesota could be. This is one of these games where, I'm looking at the Islanders and Rangers. I'm doing the New York two-step there with both teams getting a dog price. I like it a lot, Brian. Next game too. I like the dog. I like the.
Well, listen,
this team got maligned right now. You know Washington. Okay, Washington and Colorado. Colorado's laying $140. You tell me. Colorado didn't play that good against Ottawa. They got the win. Washington getting smoked to the Islanders. This is a perfect spot for Washington to go in there going, you know what, Colorado? You've been lucky. We've been struggling. We're going to kick your ass. Give me the Capitals at plus 120, 120.
And you know what, buddy? That's the beauty of hockey players, right? Like you said, okay, yeah, if they're coming off a bad effort. Remember that game? And we said, watch out for Philly against the Caps because, it was Philly to bounce back. They lost 5. Remember
Philly?
Was
the Devils.
They lost 5-0 to the Devils, and then they were going to play Washington. And okay,
we said it. I know. I'm taking them.
You know what? Those guys were embarrassed. So you get those bounce back efforts.
Yes.
It may not be a 5-game window, but when you really bottom out, hockey players, when their pride is challenged, they usually step up to the plate.
Look at Vancouver, what they did to Nashville 6-2 in that game. They look like junk one game. They come back. Actually, Brian, that's my favorite angle. Team gets the back-to-back, losing the first game, embarrassed, and people going, this team blows. No. You said it. Hockey players are different. And I'll tell you something. When you get embarrassed, they'll show up the next day big time and kick the crap out of you. I love that angle. I'm taking Washington.
Yeah, okay. Let me do this here now. I want to start by saying this is always the hardest thing that we do. Your network, my shows, this podcast. when something bad or tragic happens in sports, to then, okay, so what does it mean to the next game? You know, I mean, there's no good way to segue. We were all hoping the best for Jay Bouwmeester, and that's what it's about, okay? But this was a game that I thought would be one of the bets of the year, was St. Louis on their dad's trip, you know, coming into Vegas. Now, Vegas threw a complete clunker in against Minnesota.
They did.
But this game, to me, Bud, it would have been all over St. Louis. I'm not going near it. I don't think there's any way to handicap it. I mean, because you're guessing. St. Louis can rally around the thing and come in and play a great game, and their dads are with them. Or St. Louis could have had such a shock to the system that hockey is the last thing on their mind, and Vegas, you can't trust them. Honestly, I was all about St. Louis, and I'm all about let these two teams play and have at it. I got nothing, no opinion. I don't know how you can have an opinion on this game.
I could tell you the only thing that I know is Vegas, off that loss to Minnesota, will give their best effort. I don't know how St. Louis is going to react in this spot. I think, probably well. I hate to say it,
wait
Brian,
a minute, Cam. I got to know, but Cam. Honestly, I'm coming at you because I said the same damn thing and looked like an idiot before Vegas went to Minnesota. They came home and blew a 2-goal lead in the third period to Carolina and saying, well, they're going to be mad. It was their first game home. Give them a pass for that. And then they're going to go to Minnesota and be a mad hockey team, and they got pumped.
They did, but Vegas is too good to get pumped all the time like that. I'm just saying, you're right. This game is totally guessing. I would say this. I looked at St. Louis, and we love St. Louis against Anaheim. I think Vegas might be in a spot in this game because I don't know how St. Louis is going to react. I think Vegas shows up in this game. That's just, you're right, though. That's a hypothesis. It's an educated guess. I got to believe it. Actually, it's not even an educated guess. It's a guess. What am I talking about? I lean Vegas in this spot. I can't lie to the people.
Cam, don't sell yourself short. That 5th grade education got you here.
What? I went to Fanshawe College? Go Falcons. Hello, I'm Cam Stewart. I'm a product of community college. Anyway, you know what? It is a tough game. Can we agree on that? Yes.
Did you get a sheepskin or the left side of the menu?
I don't even think I have my diploma. I think I used it as firewood up north. I burned it. Anyway, who cares? What do we got here?
Let's get out of here.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of heat, flames, and ducks, what do we got here? I love a nice roasted duck. Give me Calgary at minus 130.
Back-to-back nights.
Yeah. If they know it, here it is. It's very simple. If they lose to right. If they lose to the Kings, they'll beat the Ducks, and that is an educated guess.
You know what?
That's how you play this game.
All right.
If Calgary beats them, I'm a little bit wary, but I still think they can get it done. That's my take.
Let me be as I love you so much,
yes.
I'll throw the cautionary tale out there.
Oh, boy. Okay.
I don't know how Anaheim reacts because they were there. They were there front and center on the Bouwmeester. I mean, the Ducks and the Blues are hugging each other in the hallway. I mean, 5 minutes earlier, there were guys looking to take each other's head off.
Bouwmeester used to play for Calgary too before he went to St. Louis.
Well, the bottom
line is Anaheim might be shocked still. You're right, Brian. I agree.
I hope the best for Bouwmeester. We wrap it up with that. Let's hear a quick summation. I like on the Thursday card. I like Philly and Florida over. Maybe I talked you into that because we watched that game. I love the Islanders at the Preds. I think the Rangers Minnesota game is a sneaky overplay. Those are the ones I'm saddling up to. Those I gotta
saddle up.
I got a trifecta.
I like Dallas. You know what? Here's my room full of dogs. Dallas plus 120. We like that. Philadelphia, Florida. Philadelphia and Florida over 6.5. Call the butcher. I also like. Come to think of it, I think Florida in a revenge spot wins at a low price, 30 cents. We can make a case. We love the Islanders in that game. Brian talked about it. Checks all the box, the angles. Give me the Islanders plus 120. We also like the over in New York Rangers, Minnesota. And after that, Washington is my dog against Colorado. We'll leave it at that, Brian.
He's the man, the Hockey Betting Podcast. I got to tell you, buddy, it was good to see you and the lovely Lisa.
Yeah, it was. It was nice. We don't get to see you. It was nice to see Rhonda. I know she's busy. And I got to tell people out there, Brian, like it's kind of crazy. And I wasn't just saying this to butter up your woman and like make her like me, but she's actually, it's like Benjamin Button for a female. She looks younger and great. Maybe I should take care of yoga instead of crushing about 20 chickens. I got to change my lifestyle.
And, it's not a pot. Listen, Cam, honestly, you were doing that the other night. I go, I don't know what you're getting at. I look at her every day. Great. Good. God bless her. But I you know what? It did dawn on me is it's not like facial cream or the Ponce de Leon thing.
Yeah.
It's dawned to me. I said, I think I take years off people's lives.
That's true, buddy. Hey, I got to tell you, for a guy that hacks Marlboros the way you do, you look great, blessing. But let's put some money in our pockets. It was great to see you, buddy. And they knocked off a little bit, a couple days of the resort fee. So, we'll give a shout out to the Suncoast. They did a great job. Very, very nice hotel. Other than the toilets, but then again, I ate a lot at the buffet, so it's kind of a pick-up. Sorry, it's both our faults, the toilet and mine. Anyway,
there you have it.
There you have it.
Cha-ching, man. Cha-ching. There it is, the Hockey Betting Podcast. Hey, folks, this is Brian Blessing. Hope you're enjoying the Hockey Betting Podcast. We have a couple chuckles, try to get you a lot of winners. Hey, we hope you like what you're hearing. And if you do, hit the subscribe button and give us a review, give us a rating. Most importantly, enjoy the hockey and keep coming back to the Hockey Betting Podcast.
The handicapping and sports odds information contained on this podcast is for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm the wagering regulations in your jurisdiction as they vary from state to state, province to province, and country to country. Using this information to contravene any law or statute is prohibited. The podcast is not associated with, nor is it endorsed by any professional or collegiate league, association, or team. This podcast does not target and is not intended for an audience under the age of 18. If you think that you have a gambling addiction, stop this podcast now and please seek help.
Gambling and betting on sports is a form of entertainment and should be about having a good time. But when done excessively, it may negatively affect other areas of a person's life, such as their physical and mental health, school or work performance, finances, and or interpersonal relationships. At BetChrisCanada.net and the Hockey Betting Podcast, we're concerned about the addiction that gambling may cause, and for this reason, we encourage everyone to practice responsible gambling, an approach to gambling that helps you ensure that it remains an enjoyable activity. Here are the main principles of responsible gambling. Don't think of gambling as a way to make money. Always gamble with money that you can afford to lose. Set limits and stick to them. Never chase losses. Don't gamble when you're depressed or upset, and create a healthy balance. Always be aware of how much time you spend gambling or thinking about gambling, and do not allow gambling to cause you to miss out on time with family and friends or time spent on other activities you enjoy. By following these guidelines, gambling can be a good time and great entertainment. If you feel at any time that your gambling is taking away from important areas of your life, is causing you stress or depression, or is leading to financial losses that are beyond your control, please reach out for help. Learn more at responsiblegambling.org.